Hello everyone, Leaf Reed here, and today we have a very kind of funny, silly, weird special book. This is Baron Trump's Marvelous Underground Journey. I definitely remember during the Trump era, people were talking about this book, saying, oh, Trump is a time traveler, or this has been foretold. Baron Trump, his son, is here, and I was just so taken with this idea that we hear all about these little theories and crazy concepts all over the time, but I thought, you know what? I'm going to pick this up. I'm going to find out if it's true. If there's something in here that's like, oh yeah, that's the evidence that we got him. Donald Trump was a time traveler. Anyway, so this was written in the early 1900s by Ingersoll Lockwood, and it's very much in the style of a turn of the century fantastical literature, usually for younger kids, basically kind of a fantastical story time tale, like one of those movies about a kid going on an adventure to the center of the earth, and that's what this is. And what it is there's you have Baron Trump, and he has this trusty dog. Oh my God. Look at that font. I don't remember it being this tiny. That is a awful font to have. Oh my God, I have to squint. And oh yeah, Lord Bulger. Yeah, that was his dog's name. But my God, this text is atrociously small. What is this text for ants? Forbid it, royal lady, called Sir Amber Opaque savagely, at which Bulger gave a low growl and showed his teeth. Queen Galaxa, I added gravely, a wrong confessed in half redressed. This fair princess, 'tis true, hath a speck in her heart, which ill accords with the main bestowed upon her by thy people. Bid me be master until thy heart runs down, and by the knighthood of all the Trumps, I promise thee that thou shalt have 3 hours of happiness, ere the royal heart has ceased to beat. So it's very prosy, very, oh, and the boy did this, and there was a magical creature, and stuff like that. So what is the book is about? Well, it kind of feels like the plot of a Tomb Raider movie or game or something. Baron Trump is in his palace and whatever, and there's some treasure map found. I don't remember exactly why he goes. I think it's to visit someone or something. Anyway, apparently there's this, they go to travel to Siberia, and there's this giant well, and according to legends, giants built this well, and it was a portal to the deep underground, the mysterious center of the earth. And so he ends up contacting the local people, and they show him the well, and he decides with his dog to dive in and have a jolly good adventure. and so he dives in, and through the course of his adventure, he encounters 3 different races of, they're basically aliens, but they're these weird, fantastical creatures. I think there's ones that are made of crystals, ones that are made of light, and there's ones that are like goblins and stuff. And I believe he does meet a princess, and he befriends her and helps her. And of course it ends with him and his dog eventually escaping from some big monster and climbing out of this crevice in the middle of the earth. Although thousands and thousands of years had gone by since the former folk had, by constant exposure to the flicker and glare of the burning gas which their ancestors had discovered and made use of to illuminate their underground world, gradually lost their sense of sight, and then in consequences of the deep and awful silence that forever reigned around them, had also lost their sense of hearing, and naturally thereby their power of speech. Yet, marvelous to relate, they still kept in their minds dim and shadowy traditions of the upper world, and the mighty lamp, as they called the sun, which burned for 12 hours and then went out, leaving the world in darkness until the spirits of the air could trim it again. So, yeah. Are there any secret messages or, little crazy ideas here? Are there any references to Mr. Donald Trump, his father, or any of that? No, there's not, frankly. And it's all just basically a big coincidence, but a very funny one at that. And this reminds me when I read the Temple of Solomon, I believe it was called. That was the iconic adventure story about British explorers going into the jungle and befriending the tribe and finding the diamond and running out, and Indiana Jones before it was Americanized, I guess you could say. It's not a super great novel. There's these character names: Lord Bulletbrain, King Gelidus, Lord Hothead. It's very silly kind of content and stuff. It's like early children's literature from like the 1900s, so it's not great. And so it ends with him appearing in northeast Siberia, and he re-entered Russia and made haste to join the first government on its way to St. Petersburg. And it ends here saying, to elder Baron came as far as Riga to meet me, and brought me the best news from Castle Trump that my dear mother was in perfect health, and that she and every man, woman, and child in and around the castle were anxiously wailing to give me a real German welcome back home again. And here, dear friends, meet Hörslin, Gries, Bulger, and I take our leave of you. So that's the jolly old adventure. That's how it ends. He goes back to Germany in his little castle with his doggy. All very well-meaning, wholesome stuff, and no weird references to anything whatsoever. I read it so you don't have to, and I really don't recommend it unless you really want to read like children's fantasy fiction from like the early 1900s. Not my thing. Not great. Not fun. I definitely not something I would recommend to a kid either. It's not super amazing, but it exists. Anyway, guys, I think that's it, and I'll see you guys later. And as always, keep reading.